Greetings, my beautiful lovelies. It's Emmy. How are you? It's great to see you and welcome back. Today we're going to be practicing a little bit of alchemy and we're going to be turning fish balls into pearls. Doesn't that sound fantastic? So how did we arrive here? Well, a little bit of serendipity. A friend of mine from the gym, dear Andy, got in touch with me and said, hey, Emmy, I've got something for a project for you. And lo and behold, I got a pair of fish eyeballs, more specifically bluefin tuna. I love that my friends think of me when they see something like fish eyeball. So I have a pair of fish eyeballs, great big bluefin tuna eyeballs, and the first thing I thought about was, wouldn't that be delicious? I grew up eating whole fish in our family, and we loved eating the eyeballs and the little cheek of the fish. We would often have the whole fish, and that was actually reserved for the kids, the pair of eyes and the little cheek portion of meat. So when Andy told me that he had a pair of eyeballs for me, I said, oh, wouldn't that be delicious? If you've never had fish eyeballs before, they're delicious. It tastes super rich. It's a bit like if you've ever had the belly portion of salmon before. It's really fatty and full of delectable fishy flavor in the most lovely kind of way. That's what a fish eyeball is like. It's just really fatty and rich and just lovely. So the way we would eat it is you take a little spoon and scoop it out, slurp it up, and there would always be a little hard portion inside, and I never knew quite what that was. Well, after doing some research, I learned that that is the lens of the eyeball. So cool. I learned a little bit about fish eyeball anatomy. So the eyeball is somewhat similar to a human eyeball. It is round, the very back of which is called the retina. Inside of it, the front of it is called the cornea, and the colored part is called the iris, and inside there's a lens. But rather than being a lens like that we think of for our eyes, kind of like a disc, the fish eyeball lens is round, and that's what we're going to use to make a pearl, a faux pearl. Can you believe this? This is super exciting. I'd never heard of this before. So in my research, I found a video from the Ayur Yoga Project that studies histories and traditions that date all the way back to the 10th century in South Asia. It includes traditions and histories from yoga, Ayurveda, and alchemy, including how to take these lenses and turn them into pearls. These are not real pearls. They're supposed to look similar to pearls. We're going to harvest the lenses and prepare them so that they look like pearls. Absolutely fascinating, right? I want to try this so badly, and I feel like it fell right into my lap. It's the best kind of project and surprise. So this particular bit of alchemy comes from a 16th century treatise called the Rasa Prakasa Sudakara, translated to the nectar mind light of Mercury. Isn't that a lovely name? So this is in the 11th chapter, and it's a short description on how to take these fish eyeballs and to cook them in a bit of milk for 3 hours, and then we're going to polish the lenses into pearls. So let's go ahead and get started. Yee! So exciting. So this is my little diagram of a fish eyeball, and here's the lens that we will be harvesting, and the iris is the colored portion. This is the front of the eye. This is the cornea. This is called the sclera, the back of it, and inside is the retina. Just like us, we have a retina, and then inside we have the vitreous humor, which is the kind of slimy bit that is in suspension there, kind of like the jelly stuff. And then there's a big cord back here, and that is the optic nerve that connects the eyeball to the brain. Fascinating, right? So let me show you the eyeballs. Look at this. Oh, Andy, thank you so much for thinking of me when you saw eyeballs. You're like, oh, I bet Emmy could use those. I just love that. And here they are. Aren't they gorgeous? They are very big. If you put my thumb next to it, you can see how big they are. And on the back, we have the fatty portions and a little bit of the optic nerve. And as I said, the colored portion is the iris, and these are so fresh, and you can tell that because the eyes are not cloudy. And there's no fishy odor. It smells like the ocean, like you at the beach. Not stinky at all. Nice and fresh, as all seafood that you eat should be. It should not be stinky. It shouldn't be fishy. It should smell like brine, like the ocean. Just absolutely lovely. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and prepare these. So super simple. We're just gonna take some milk, add it to my pan or pot. And now we're going to add the fresh eyeballs. Absolutely beautiful. right into the pot. And we're going to boil these for 3 hours. So bring it up to a boil and just cook those for 3 hours. That's it. Just bring them to boil, and we will continue to slowly simmer these for 3 hours. And then I will come back and we'll begin the polishing portion of our pearl making. Cannot wait. So incredibly fascinating, right? Fascinating. Alchemy. Magic. Alrighty, I'll see you in a little bit. Alrighty, my lovelies, I am back. It's been a few hours since I placed the fish eyeballs into the pot with some milk, and I've boiled it, and now we're going to find our pearls. The milk has reduced significantly and taken on a more tan color, and we have the little components here. This is the cartilaginous part that I was talking about before. I believe that might be the sclera, and here is the colored iris portion. And here is some of the optic nerve that's cooked right here. But most importantly, we want this. This is our pearl. Isn't that fabulous? Those are the lenses of the fish. And they're quite large because that was a big fish. Now the directions are very, very vague. They say next to take the pearls and to thresh them in rice hulls. So I have rice hulls here, which I ordered. And it doesn't say for how long, it just says to polish them until they're shiny with the rice hulls, and then to take brick dust and to further rub them until they're shiny and they turn into pearls. Brick dust. I'm going to be grinding up bricks? I'm not sure. But let's get some rice hulls. Now rice hulls are the outside of a grain of rice. This is what's threshed off to reveal the grain inside. And I used these before when I made 1,000-year-old eggs. And if you haven't seen that video, I'll put that down below. That was quite the journey. The first time I did it, I totally failed. Second time I was successful, which is great. This is what the holes look like. It's the outside portion of the rice grains, right? So we're supposed to take the pearl, which feels hard and a little bit soft, like a little chalky. So if you were to break that away, there's a hard section inside. And yes, if we touch it, see how this kind of comes off, this membranous. So let's try rolling it in the hulls and see what happens. And I guess this is kind of absorbing it and rubbing it off. I'm not sure. When I was looking up making faux pearls, there are some faux pearls that were made with fish scales, which I found very interesting. So glass balls were blown. This was in Europe. And then a concoction was made of fish scales. I have not found this recipe, otherwise I'm very tempted to try it. And this kind of pearlescent substance made from fish scales would be injected inside the small glass spheres after they made a little hole, and it would take on the look of a pearl. And I saw some images, and they're incredible looking. I don't know if you can tell when you touch them. I don't know how they know that they're not real, but they must have some way of sleuthing it out. But from photographs, they looked very, very believable as pearls. So I'm going to keep rubbing this, and then I'm supposed to take brick dust and continue rubbing these until they shine. Wait a minute. So if I remove all this kind of chalky layer, this kind of chalky layer kind of comes off. Look at that. See, it's kind of crumbling and it's really smooth in there. Oh my gosh. That's amazing. So in the Ariog video, they allow it to dry and it looks really cracked, but I'm doing this while it's still soft and it's not cracking. This chalky substance kind of just comes off. And it's really hard inside. Wow, that's so cool. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. So it gets smaller once you remove that layer. So it's significant. It gets a lot smaller. It loses maybe 20% once you remove that chalky layer. So I will B-roll the polishing with the brick. I think it may take some time. And then we'll come back and check out our finished pearls. Amazing! Yay! Oh my gosh, fish eyeballs. Who knew? So cool. Alrighty, my lovelies, I'm back for day 2 of making pearls out of fish eyeballs. And I have to say, lovelies, they turned out pretty great. Look, here are my pearls. Aren't they fantastic? So after I rubbed the lenses with the rice hulls and paper towel to get all the kind of soft, chalky stuff on the outside, I was left with kind of a hard center. But I did lose a lot of the diameter. It shrunk probably by 25%. So they were much smaller and they were hard. So after that, I was supposed to rub it with some brick dust. So I found a brick laying around, chipped it up in my mortar and pestle, and ground it up with a little bit of water. I added a little bit of terracotta clay because that was nice and fine. Blended it all together into a paste because the video said it helped to have a pasty consistency. So I used that along with some rubber gloves and tried to burnish the pearls into some kind of shininess. But it wasn't really working. I was trying with my gloves and I just couldn't get it to get any shine on it. So then I went to the garage and grabbed a modern tool, a Dremel with a polishing bit. This is just a little wool bit, and use this to burnish and buff up the surface. And with that, I was able to get a nice shine. Look at that shine, isn't that great? So the pearl did crack a little bit. I'm not sure if it'll show on camera, but in the iMovie video, there's cracked as well. Maybe there's some sort of way to slow the drying process down so that it doesn't crack. It didn't crack all the way through though, but it does kind of mar the finish, right? This one has a crack in it, but it's not as deep and not as noticeable. This one is definitely the better one. It's a little bit smaller as well. But isn't that incredible? So I used the Dremel tool just for a few minutes just to get a little bit of a shine to them. But aren't they lovely? They're very light, and when you look at them in person, they look more like plastic than pearls, to be honest. But this came from a fish's eyeball. Isn't that incredible? So I could imagine being very careful and drilling a hole in these and trying to make some kind of jewelry out of them. But I don't think you'll be fooling anyone to thinking that these are pearls just simply by the weight of them and by the look. They don't have that kind of opalescent sheen to them. They look shiny and transparent, translucent, but they don't have that kind of opalescent nacre kind of color or feel to them. You know what I mean? But pretty perfect in terms of a shape, very spherical and round, and it came from a tuna's eyeball. I'm just absolutely blown away by that. So there you have it, lovelies, a 16th century recipe on how to make pearls out of fish eyeballs. Pretty incredible. Big thanks to Andy for providing the tuna eyeball so that I could pursue this project, and thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that one. I hope you learned something. Please share this video with your friends, follow me on social media, like this video, subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one. Toodaloo, take care, bye! Now what do I do with these? I should send them to, oh my gosh, I have to go look for, I think I should send them to like the Abita Springs Mystery House. Maybe Jordan, you can find a good place for them. Okay, now I've got to find that runaway pearl. Oh my gosh, where'd it go? Oh no.